Are you like many other people who dream about family life? Do you have dreams about your family life? Well, dreaming is very good. Somebody asked me, Uncle, what should I do to make the dream of my family life come true? That's a question. It's nice to have a dream about a beautiful family life. I'm sure that nobody dream about a miserable family life. Everybody has dreams of pleasant, beautiful, happy, lovely, meaningful, purposeful, fulfilled family life. But we all admit that all our dreams always do not come true. Is that because the dreams were very unrealistic? Or is it because we did not work for those dreams to come true? All great inventions, including people going to the other planets, all started out in a dream. The Wright brothers had dreamt about flying. It said that the first flight was shorter than the length of the plane they had. Yes. But that was the beginning. He did not stop there, he kept on working. So I encourage people to have good dreams, even about family life. But good dreams are not enough. You need to work to make your dreams come true. If I will ask you what are your dreams about family life, will you answer me? I'm not going to ask. Simply because if someday they don't come true, it will add to your sorrow. Well, some people definitely dream of a family life where there is perfect love, perfect in mutual respect, a husband who stands in the front, a good leader, a submissive wife, an excellent provider husband, an excellent helpmeet wife, for a romantic couple, family life, mutually enjoying, mutually encouraging, mutually adoring family life, faithful to the core of the heart, open and free in communication, compatible spiritually, physically, socially, temperamentally, personality-wise, educationally, a life where children are valued and loved, love the siblings, love parents, love friends, hospitable and helpful to others, well-groomed, aesthetic, gentleman and lady, responsible wife, healthy and clean family life. Well, if somebody is dreaming all these things, well, they are realistic, but you have to work very hard to make them come true. So that's the challenge I wanted to place before you, even at the outset. Have good dreams. Don't stop there. Be not a daydreamer, fantasizing all the time about this and that, but have meaningful dreams and work hard to make those dreams come true. You know, you can work hard and make these dreams come true. There are many gentlemen who are good leaders. There are many ladies who are very good, companions. There are many ladies who are trained to be responsible housewives and mothers. There are many men who are, responsible and able to take care of a family. Romance is very good. It's meant to be there. God wants the couple to be romantic. Men are not romantic, they are sexy or sex interested. Women are romantic. Mutually enjoying and encouraging and compatible people. All these dreams, none of them is beyond reality. But sad to say that most of those things are not realized by many couples. Once they start living, frustrations, disappointments, complaints, tears, slam the door, close the door, the supper cooked is not eaten, one sleep on the couch, the tears, sighing all night. Why? Is it because the dreams were unrealistic? No. Because somehow, somewhere failures come, people do not work hard to achieve their dreams. So I always encourage young people to have good dreams. Along with that good dreams, have hard work. If there is one thing that you can achieve only with hard work, I say that's marriage. I say that because I have been married, my wife and I have been married 45 years. And I will say that only hard work on our part brought us a very blessed family life, we say. Yes. One place where you have to be extremely careful and sensitive, caring, sober, is in the family. The other places you can walk away, right? You can get a transfer. You can even resign. But what do you do with family life? You cannot get a transfer. You cannot resign. You cannot run away. You are stuck with it. So that's why I said one place where you have to work extremely hard to make it joyful. Yes. So marriage and family life are beautiful, institution God has made, and it's meant to bring a lot of happiness and satisfaction to every one of us. And I hope that the things that I'm going to share is not to scare you, but to provoke you to dream and work hard to realize your dreams if you are not married. If you are married, still you can work hard and make your family life the most beautiful one. Yes. I only said a very brief introduction. I don't know whether you are already encouraged or discouraged. I'm a person who always wants to keep my expectations very high and then try to achieve it. Yes. But the things I expect are things I have a feeling that I can achieve them. And I cannot achieve, I don't dream about them because they don't make any meaning. I'm made for that. Yes. Well, sounds great, right? Doesn't it sound great? Have a good family, wonderful family. Now the question is, how we can have a family like that? I repeatedly made one phrase, hard work, hard work, hard work. When should you do the hard work? After you marry or before you marry? That's a question. I like to hear what you think. To have a wonderful family life, the hard work should be before or after?
Always.
Always. So that means you have to start working before. How much before?
As much.
There is a saying, and it's a true saying, your parents are living today your family life. You know that? Your parents are living your family life today. Unless you knowingly reject that family life and decided we are going to have a different kind of family life. Even if you decide that the influence of your family, your parents, come in unknowingly. After you marry, you men going to behave with your wife exactly like your father behaved with your mother. And you women going to behave with your husband exactly like you saw your mother behaving with your father. Unless you decided deliberately that I am not going to behave like that, and you psyched yourselves and oriented yourselves, trained yourselves for years not to repeat that. Parents are living their children's future life. That's the way God meant it to be. So good families perpetuate usually, and bad families also. Most divorces come from broken families. Most divorces come from broken families. Or the family is very good, husband and wife, parents are excellently good, loving. Even when problems come, big problems come, those children will never think of divorce, because such a thing cannot cross their mind, because they have seen their parents living lovingly for years and go through difficult situations. But in broken families where the mother walks away, runs away, and all those situations when problems come, the options are very easy. Let's get over it. Forget about it. That's it. Most all the rowdies and the gundas of our societies come from broken families. Occasionally, maybe from a good family, somebody turned out bad, but they're very, very rare. They all come from bad families. A father who beats his, wife, and the children see it, they have no sensitivity, towards these matters, and any differences come and wow, they go, because they have seen it all the time. And where a mother, wife throwing things at the father and abusive language and all these things, any differences come, the same thing they do. That's a natural thing. But where the couple are so sensitive, careful in talking, using their language, they never raise their voices. If one raises their voice, the other comes down and go to the room and, maybe pray. Or walks over to the husband or the wife and say, I'm sorry. I lost my temper, forgive me. Well, children grow up in those families, when they get married, basically, the human weakness may sometimes makes them to shout, but immediately they come to their mind how the father goes and apologizes or the mother goes and say, I'm sorry. They do the same thing. That's why I said parents are living the lives of their children. So for that reason, if you think your parents are not living a model life, then though the chances that are that you will imitate, but if you carefully decide that no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to shout at my wife, or I'm not going to shout at my husband when I get married like that. I'm not going to behave like that. So hard work starts much earlier, and all through the marriage it keeps going. Oh, who wants to do the hard work? Lazy people don't want to do hard work, right? It's a lot more easier to shout and beat and run away and throw whatever comes in, abusive language, and then for not to speak for half a day, and that becomes more natural. So we're talking about how we can have good meaning for your lives. So hard work. Yes. Well, you be the man of the dream, and you be the man of the woman of the dream. And then you write down your dream. This is not the dream that you dream when you go to bed in the night, and this is the dream that soberly you are thinking. Yes. Now who said, I have a dream for India. I have a dream for my family life. You write down your dreams. What do you want? Good things very seldom come accidentally. Occasionally some scientists will come across something and an invention or a discovery by accident, but usually not. You work for it. So you be the ideal woman of the dream, the ideal man, and you work towards it. So the question that I wanted to ask you at the outset is, are you that ideal man of your dream? Are you the ideal woman of your dream? If you are not the ideal woman, don't dream for an ideal man. It never works out. It will only spoil. If you are not the ideal man, don't dream of an ideal. All men who mess around with so many ladies, they always dream of a virgin for their wife. Wow. What a dream. And girls also do the same thing. It never works out. God is not on your side in your dreams, Yes. The Lord is in the business usually of providing compatible matches. So you want a better husband, then you be a better wife. You want a better wife, then you be a better husband. Yes, that's it. Most of the men are selfish, most of the women are selfish. A man sees a beautiful woman. Why he says, walk to her and say, I love you. Oh, that's very strange. Why you love me? What is love? He is simply saying, you beautiful, you allow me to exploit your beauty. That's what he meant to say. Will you ever walk over to a woman with a lot of, blemishes and scars and all those things and maybe other deformities, and you are very healthy and in good shape? You walk over to say that, lady, I love you, can I marry you? And why you marry me? Because I want to seek the highest good. Most men may not like you, but the Lord has given me a lot of, a good health, and I'm handsome and I have a lot of money, and I wanted to give it to you to make your life meaningful. I'm not saying you should say that, by the way. I'm not saying. But if somebody say that, then I will say that, okay, that statement has meaning, Most of the people, it's a point of view exploitation, That's all. It's not genuine love or anything. No. And such marriages seldom last also. Because very soon the selfishness start coming out. The other person then slowly realizing this man is not a gentleman. He's a rascal who only wanted to exploit what I have. Or he will find out that this girl is not honest, she had, her intentions were very much different. So if I ask you, are you that ideal man, are you that ideal girl, woman? The answer is yes. Well, I will say that maybe you don't know what's ideal. But if you say that I don't know, or no, I don't think I am, then you have hope. Because you can start working. If you ask me, tell me, how could I become like that man of the dream? How can I become like that woman of the dream? The answer is sincere and honest hard work. Yes. Good marriages and good family lives are not accidental. Deliberate, honest, sincere, hard work is required to create a man or a woman like the one of your dream. A lot of chiseling, a lot of filing, lot of planing and lot of polishing are required to produce a model man or a model woman. Most people are like two pieces of wood, For that two pieces of the wood to brought together and so that put together, and everybody will think that this is just one piece of wood, sawn from a big tree. That's the success of it. And that's the success of it. Well, it will take a lot of cutting the edges and piling and planing and all that thing. And the amount of work the carpenter will do, and then again, no, and then come a point where they will, put the glue on. Well, most people will say that, boy, that's beautiful, isn't it? Look, just like one plank. That's what is called a good marriage life. But who will do this planing and the filing and the cutting and the chiseling and all those things? Who will do it? You will do it yourself. I say somebody has to do it. Naturally, your parents will start doing it, but are they doing it? Are they? Do they have that in mind? One day, this my daughter has to be put with another man, and they must, the two shall become one. The two shall become one. Or your parents saying, this my son one day has to be united with a woman and the two shall become one without any friction, any problem. So parents have to start their hard work, to be honest. We have raised our 5 children by God's grace. They are all happily married. Again, praise be to God. We never had to deal with any family problem in their lives. That's because, I'd say, God's grace, that's the answer is, to be honest, not because of mine and graces, but we had this in our mind. We have done a lot of chiseling. Lot of chiseling. Yes. The boys were trained to be givers, not takers. The women were taught to be submissive, never to be bossy. I have 2 sons. We have 2 sons and 3 daughters. One of my sons is the youngest, so naturally 3 girls above him, So even as he was 4 years old, that if any of your sisters come and hurt you, so I don't want a boy who is beaten by girls. I want you to grow up as a man. I don't feel bad about it. I have never beaten my wife, never, not even thought of it. The question is, so girls knew that daddy's permission is there. If they go to fight with him, and they will come. And if he hits, they come try say that, why do you go fight with the boy? You girls fight each other. Yes. When I will share a lot from our family, forgive me. When my eldest son was 12 years old, we put him in a place called Ooty. Because we just came from States and they didn't know Malayalam, they didn't know Hindi, they only knew English and this and that. And we tried to put them, 1 year we put them in the local schools. That was a tragedy, So I took him and put him in Ooty. So after 4 months he came home on a 10 days holiday. So he's a young boy, only 12-year-old boy. So as soon as he came and said, son, what did you bring for your younger sisters and brother and for your daddy and mommy? He was surprised. He said, Dad, I didn't bring anything. He said, no, you can't do that. That's not allowed in this family. You are the elder brother. When you come, you have to buy something. Maybe a little pencil, maybe a little rubber. Doesn't matter. Maybe a little chocolate for you. But you cannot walk into this home and pay. Money is mine. You ask me, I'll give it. The buying is your right. Well, that in our family, it's always like that. Always. When the birthday comes, all 5 sisters and 5 brother-in-laws, some sister-in-laws, and all nephews, nieces, father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, everybody has to send a gift or a check. Even if it is only 5 rupees or $5, doesn't matter. It cannot be forgotten with I love you. And that has been our... Because if at that age, if I do not train him to be a giver and take, one who cares for the younger ones, you think that when he is married, he will do it? He won't do it. It's a small lesson, but it's a big lesson. It's a big lesson. Always been. So to become the man of your dream is not very easy. I had this funniest experience in a family. We were living in a city called Pala, which is a very bad city. Anyway, one night I was not there. I usually go, I come by 11 o'clock, and a young man in his 30s came and knocked on the door, and my wife, children were there. My eldest son was in the hostel. So son was not there then. My second daughter was also not there. She was also in the hostel. Then the third child, fourth and fifth were there. The youngest boy was only 7 or 8 years old, So this man, now my wife opened and simply immediately asked, Sir, no. He just got in, sat down. Sir said, when Sir will come? Said, by 11 o'clock. I go only after Sir comes. This behavior gave the impression that he is not normal. Immediately. There was something wrong. So my wife politely, it's 9 o'clock, so asked her, do you have something to eat? She said, no. So my wife, offered supper. So then, the way he sat down and said, don't you put any chili in this curry? Well, my wife said, that's all the chili we put. You have any green chili here? Yes. She brought 2. Only 2? Why did you bring half a dozen? So my wife said that, well, my husband never talks to me like this. Who is this guy anyway? So he ate it and then, where is your bathroom? He said, there. Give me a bucket. I said, why? Want to wash some clothes? I said, no. In this home, you're not going to wash clothes in the bathroom and the husband is not here. So it was becoming 10 o'clock, the girls were all, my wife was also a little upset and my girls were also scared. Who is this guy? They have never seen it. So my son, 8-year-old son, told the mother and said, I am the man here. You all go. I'll take care of it. Malayalji പറഞ്ഞു ഞാൻ ഇവിടുത്തെ പുരുഷൻ ഞാൻ നോക്കിക്കോളാം നമ്മളൊക്കെ പോയി കിടന്നു. So my wife said, this is what he said, and I was very young. When I came, I knew this man. Actually, he's a believer from another church. He has a little bit mental problem. Some of the time he's in the mental hospital, but otherwise he's not a person who will do anything. But this is the sort of thing. So, what I meant to say is that from your childhood, the sense that you are a man, you are responsible for your mother, your parents, your sisters, that idea of being a man, being responsible, and to guard your family must be given to the boys. And the same way, the idea of loving and submissive and caring, that sort of an idea must be given to the girls. Because if your eye is on no complaint should come, he is not responsible, doesn't take care of me. He doesn't provide. You just cannot become a man immediately after marriage. Like some of those, you have those sofas and all, you can just blow air in and, like that you take these boys and after marriage you immediately become a man, and it doesn't happen like that. You keep on blowing every day, little bit, and then, one day you feel that, it seems like he's ready to take care. The problem in marriage today is not between gentlemen and ladies, but it is between grown-up boys and grown-up girls. Marriage is meant for ladies and gentlemen, not for even man and woman. But today, most of them are grown-up boys. Hair start growing on the face, and he looks a little bit muscular and all that. Oh, you are big, you can marry now. Same feminine features start coming and say that, oh, you are big, you can marry now. Yes. Biologically, you may be mature enough to be a mother or to father a child, but no, you are not. You are not. So we need to work hard. We need to work hard to, and not to be that grown-up boy and grown-up girl, but to become that gentleman and that woman. So people ask, when should a man or a woman begin this sort of training? As I said, sooner the better. Start it early, let the parents pay attention. But I know there is no use in talking about them because most parents have it done in the day. Mothers are not looking forward to the day when their daughters are getting married. They think about marriage only when the daughter is 19, 20, 21-year-old, that's too late to think about marriage. Same with parents also. Parents are not thinking about their sons. In the future, he is going to be father of many children, the husband of another woman. All those things we need to. So never think that your son or your daughter is too small to be trained. Because these characteristics that you expect from a man are not created overnight. You add little bit, Slowly, here little, there little. Chisel a little here. Polish a little there. That's the way it is. And most parents have failed. And what do you expect? What do you expect? So parents have to know their children. What are his possibilities? What are his positives and negatives? Where should I pay more attention? And all that. Now, I don't want to dwell on that one because now you are all grown up, your parents are not going to do it, and even if they want, they cannot do it. You are grown up. But I said it because there are some parents here. I wanted to say that. The success of your children's marriage in the future depends upon what you do now. What you do now. If you find your children failed, there is a part of responsibility for you also. I did not bring them up correctly. So people ask, then does that mean someone in his or her 20s, late 20s, early 20s, getting ready to marry in few months, have no scope of establishing a model family life? I don't want to say that. Our God is very gracious, He does not bless us always because we deserve it. He blesses more than what we deserve, and that's how we all survive. But we don't want to put too much hope only on the grace of God. That even if I mess around, the Lord is gracious. Let's not put that much. So the question, how could a young man? Now, discipline himself. Well, I will say you start your training even as now. You may be in your 20s, you may be some in 30s, early 20s, or maybe late 20s, whatever it is. You may be thinking of marriage in a year or in few months or couple of years. You start your training. Every day, every moment from now on is very important. You study what are the virtues God expects from a man and a woman. What are the virtues, what you call a biblical man and a biblical woman? You take a notebook, you take your Bible, you study it and find out what are these virtues of a biblical man, biblical woman. You find anybody whom you wanted to emulate, you think so and so's family life is good or okay, you approach him and have a conversation with him, an interview with him or her, the mother, and find out some secrets about, those things. Yes. Career, you pay a lot of attention to your career, that's good. But the most important career is your family career, I tell you. Because the other things of either you can change, even you can change your trade or your area of, late years, but this you cannot change, you are stuck. So, you always have a notebook with you where you will scribble down. I'm not saying necessarily, it could be your tablet, or it could be your notebook, it could be your own mind, your brain, wherever you want to write down these things, definitely. So what are the virtues God expects from a man or a woman? What are some of the pitfalls people commonly fall to? Why so-and-so failed even in the Bible? Where did Lot fail as a father and a husband? Where did Mrs. Lot fail as a mother? What about Abraham, Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and his two wives? What's unique about Noah and his family? Study these things and see whether you can bring something into it. If there are good books you can get on family, you have to be extremely careful in picking up books because all kinds of books are there, some are trash. But pick up some good books, study it. Yes, definitely that will help. You have to prepare, there are certain areas where you may have a problem. You may come from a very strong father, he's a leader, a responsible man. Well, boys, I will say, bless your heart if your father has been a good man. Because strong men come, boys come only from strong fathers. Sadly, in some homes, the mother may have been very strong, but the father is a weak one. Well, the girl will come very strong, but the boys will be terrible. It's all possibility, even some of those boys may turn out to be homosexuals, and there are so many other problems. Yes. Strong mothers and weak fathers produce very weak boys and very strong girls. A good combination is a strong father and a strong mother. Strong father means in all masculine virtues he is strong, and all feminine virtues she is strong. Such families only will bring out very strong men and women. Well, you need to understand you have parents also. Yes. Well, some of you girls may have to say that my mother, I think, is too strong. Some of that thing is going to influence me, and I don't want to be like that. If she is strong in feminine characters, no problem, because she will submit herself under the man. But many of the women are strong in masculine characters. That psychologists and sociologists call animus. A-N-I-M-U-S. Animus is male characteristics in a woman. And anima, that is female characteristics in a man, psychologically. So there are a lot of men with a lot of anima, soft, feminine features, dealings, words. There are women with very strong masculine characters. I don't know whether, the Lord was debating whether it should make it a boy or a girl, boy or a girl, boy or a girl. And then all of a sudden, children inherit all these things from parents. It comes through that way. Yes. Our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they were good people, simple people, honest people. I don't want to blame, but when they considered marriages, what did they consider really? They asked them, how much land? That's it. How many acres? How many children? So this and that, they thought that, 5 acres of land, and okay, he's a good boy, That's the sort of thing. But that, does he drink, does he this, that? No bad habits, no bad habits. A lot of money and no bad habits. That means excellent. And for girls also, they, how much, dowry, this and that, and all that kind of questions they ask and all that. That's not the basis. They were not looking for ladies and gentlemen in marriage, No, they were not. Now we are in a very difficult situation. We have left home, but we have not reached the destination. This generation. Before it was joint family. Even if it's a wrong marriage, no problem, because he's going to live with great mother-in-law, great grandmother and uncle and aunt and everybody. If he says something, he says, that's it, takes care of the problem. The question is, success of the marriage is decided by the mother-in-law and the sister-in-laws. So if they like it, successful. If they don't like it, it's hell there. That's it. But now it's not that way. You fly, take, the next day after marriage, you take your train and you go to wherever you want. You are alone there, no permanent family, no umpires, no middleman, nothing, nobody, for every little things. Either you compare your wife with your mother-in-law, or you compare your husband with your father-in-law, or this sort of thing, and then starts problems. There's nobody to help you. So you have to make sure that you are choosing the right person. The responsibility to find a suitable partner today rests more upon the individual than upon the family. Because even if they find the right, you are the one to leave. Their joint family system, things were different. Morning 6 o'clock, father, son and all will be in the field. It's only 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock after finishing everything. This is 1 hour, what they used to call Talayana mantra. They used to say that, nobody should hear, so in the middle, that sort of whisper. That's it. Before realize they fell asleep because all day is hard work, the hot sun. But now that's not the case. Now it's, both say that, come on then. That sort of. So a lot of marriage problems, separations, divorces, and a lot of the counseling, a lot of these things. So the responsibility to find a suitable partner today rests more upon the person marrying, whether it's a man or woman. They have more responsibility. I will say, and the church has greater responsibility because they will be in the church. They will be away from the parents in the church, and all these problems come in the church. So the elders of the church, they have to give, counseling, and they have to take care of all these situations. So it all comes on. Counseling is a major job for the elders and the leaders of the church today. Parents, Once in 2 years, they're there for 2 weeks and that's it. That's it. They don't face problems anymore. So there's a lot more separations and all these things. So, you needed to pay more attention to your own life in taking care of your own personal life where you make yourself a suitable husband or a suitable wife. So a lot of chiseling needs to be done by yourself, and I will say the elders, the leaders of the church. For that reason, today when a marriage proposal comes, the role of the elders is much greater than before. Unless you want always to be after these people with counseling and mediatorship and this sort of thing. Therefore, the church has to give an okay, go ahead children. We think there is compatibility, things are okay. I'm not saying the responsibility for finding a partner is for the church, no, it's not. But in bringing them together, deciding whether this will be a successful marriage or not, as far as humanly speaking, we cannot, no elder can say this is going to be successful finally, but obviously there are reasons why this cannot work out, because, there are issues there, So that sort of a decision has to be said. For that reason, you have to sit with your leaders, elders, and give them an opportunity to see the boy and talk with him and see him, interview her and talk with and discuss and then say that I think it's better not to proceed because on our talking I don't think she is for you or he is for you. You have no compatibility in value systems and nothing. You only will have problems. That sort of advice or go ahead children, as far as we could see, it's okay. I think God has made you for each other. If you're careful, you can have a family life, that sort of thing. The parents are not going to say that anymore. We are giving in a different, area and point. If you are a Christian, because you will be fellowshipping in some church, even though you are living away with your parents, from your parents and all, so the responsibility of the church is greater. That's why they arrange meetings like this, 20 years or 25 years or 50 years. When I got married 45 years back, I never had a premarital counseling or postmarital counseling or marriage counseling, nothing. That sort of thing they never heard about. Nobody was talking about it. But now, we started marriage counseling before everybody started, 45 years, 33 years back we started it, and then eventually Roman Catholics started it. But now, most denominations they don't marry unless they have gone through the premarital counseling and get their certificate and all, because otherwise they will be frequently involved in divorces and separation, that sort of problems. What am I saying? What am I talking about? I'm talking that you needed to become a man before you marry. You need to become a woman before you marry. Otherwise you're only a grown-up girl or a grown-up boy. Grown-up boys and girls, marriage is not for them. No. It's not a childish stuff. Marriages were easier earlier days. It's much easier. I remember about an appachan and ammachi, we call the older people. My father used to say this story, his father was a very strong man, so what he says is fine. So he saw a girl for his son and said, he gave word and even engagement, didn't ask him. That sort of thing. So he didn't like the girl at all. So, the wedding came, both were standing, the preacher asked, do you take this? And he said, don't ask me, ask my dad. I don't take anybody. So, right in there, the preacher asked, what do you say, Matavicha? Kettirdo? Go ahead. And then, they were married and I know them and they have 5 or 6 children and all, because it doesn't matter, he likes or not. Can you think of a situation like that today? You cannot think of a situation like that today. Seasons have changed. So these days, marriages, unless they are made between compatible people, mature people, they have a part to say and they have thought through it, they have prayed about it and they have decided. There is no guarantee that it will last. And I tell you, if failure in marriage is the most saddest thing I've experienced in life. There is nothing. I had to deal with different people in counseling and it's saddest, very, very difficult to deal with marriage problems. And a lot of people have, and they will have because they married the wrong person. If I permitted to say that, the way the marriage established, the people, parties in the marriage, they were all not right. You have anything you want to ask? I only said something. I didn't go into it in depth. But if I don't give you opportunity, anybody, men or women, any question you want to ask, don't hesitate to ask. Go ahead and ask.
We are asking the
Yeah.
obvious in today's generation and especially in cities like aspect of falling in love.
Yeah.
Since you come to the West also, how do we deal with that and how, to what extent from your experience
I don't approve falling in love. I approve falling in liking. I like Mary, I like Matthew. It's a danger to say I love, as a Christian love you can have. It's like all brothers and sisters, I'm not talking about. This sort of romantic love and all that, say that, no, it's a danger. What's the basis of? Oh, I consider him, I think of him, I consider him, I like the way he behaves, he's a gentleman, the way he talks, treat other girls and all that, his value system, I like him. I like to have him as my husband. I like to have her as my wife. She seems to be a good girl, a good lady, mature lady, I like her ways. So you can proceed further with the proposal through the right channels. And I think that both parties, they, after dealing with everything, both like, and then you can have an engagement, and that's when you have more freedom to, interact more and talk more, and, still not going alone anywhere. I don't believe in those things, but you can talk more and all, maybe in the company of your parents or your senior brothers, you can do some shopping or maybe, things of that nature, just to know, a little more, because I don't like marriage between strangers. That's how I married. Totally stranger, didn't know a thing about it, and then, that sort of, that was okay, as I said, joint family systems, it was okay, but today, two strangers walking into a new flat they have rented and start living, two strangers, they all look at each other and say, why are you looking at me? I just looked at you. That sort of. So, take 6 months after your, engagement and get to know, you can talk each other and all that, but with the, you liked each other, but during this time, you know more, but not with the view of separation or anything, but so that your marriage will be more better established. That sort of, that's the period when you develop some affection and all that, But you just saw her, you liked her, why you liked her? What's the basis?
No, uncle, I think what George probably meant is, where, like in cities like Bombay, in cities it's more common actually where there are couples already having a relation.
People having. Yeah. But that's we call adultery and all that. We don't put a halo around that relationship, I mean, they may not be having physical relationship, but they are having an affair, Their emotions are met, The physical touch and a lot of things, some of these magazines, some papers, question and answers, you read them and you know that, things that even married couples won't do, they are doing. That sort of, no, I don't believe in those things. I'm not an old man, I think I'm a very, my viewpoints are always not the old one, but I think, as I said, I have no problem in two people liking, Like, or I like 1,000 people, but I can marry only one person, right? So liking has no commitment, no emotional attachment. I like the way she dresses, very modest, the way she talks with others, she always keeps her boundaries, the way she relates to older people, younger people, I think she has some good qualities of becoming a good wife. I think he's a gentleman, he always, keeps his position, and his manners are very nice and all that. I like him to be my husband. Okay? But whether it is God's will or not, that's what I want to do. Deal with. So you can tell your parents or the elders in your church that, uncle, I like that man. I don't know whether, there is compatibility and all, but the way many things, and you think that we will be in any way compatible, or would you be our mediator, maybe take this matter to our parents and others, that sort of thing. There should be somebody. And instead of people saying that I love you, I sometimes say that it's like a male dog and a female dog walking around, and that's sort of, what is it? And then after marriage, no meaningful relationship. In a couple of years, it's over. And because they're Christians, so they may not divorce, but they have no family life. I know cases where they sleep separately, They say, okay, we have a child, we don't want divorce. For the sake of our children, we are living as husband and wife, but we have no relationship. Why it happened? See, that's a danger. That's a danger. You should never do that mistake. Marriage is for life. Marriage is for life. Even a child born needs a very responsible father and a very responsible, loving mother to mature him, to bring him up as a very solid person. Single family, broken families only will bring up broken children, character-wise and all. So liking, I'm not against boys, maybe finding a girl, that sort of, but anything more than liking, no. It's never, uncle, I love that girl. Say, you love that girl? In what capacity? As a Christian believer, brother, oh, you love all the girls. That's nice. You like that girl? I said, why you like that girl? I think she will make a good wife. Don't you think that? I have not observed her, she's her behavior, talks, her friends are good friends. She is a girl of some taste. She, modesty is there, a shamefacedness is there, value. I like that man, he seems to be a responsible person. He's always good, he's punctual, he's always kind to others, and I have seen he's a leader, and the way he teaches, share in the church. I like to have a husband like that. This man different. Oh, that's good. So so he has many characteristics I have been praying for. I studied from the Bible. I think he fits into that one. Now, do you think we are a match? Can you find out whether he's thinking about marriage? Will he accept somebody like me? Whether do I have the characters that he's looking for? If he say no, no problem. Because I'm not. See, after liking, if a marriage doesn't take place, there is no broken heart. No broken heart. After loving, if the parents say no way, that's when want to run away and marry, or want to commit suicides of the world, this and that. Boy, you have it because we are already falling in love. But we are not. Well, you have it. Why? Well, there are more to it. We cannot say everything to you. There's that and this. Well, that's not going to be, establish a good family life. So be a responsible person. Nothing wrong in liking a person. You can say, I think parents, girls or boys, they must be able to sit down with their parents and discuss these matters. With senior brothers in the church, elders in the church, they must be able to sit down and talk these matters, without being very emotional. Parents should not get upset because girl said, I like a person. She's not saying that I'm going to marry that person. She's saying that, will you find out whether, they're interested, whether, we could proceed or not, Any other questions? Go ahead, ask if you have a question. This whole time you can, because don't tell later, I wanted to ask that. So, don't be ashamed. You have a question, you ask.
One more thing, I don't know whether maybe you are covering it today or not. Today, most likely that there will be people who would have already gone through sexual abuse in their younger days, or without knowing these aspects, already had emotional attachments broken, and so there are severe issues like that might be there. From my questions, some of the tips as to how to handle, how to help. What are the things that we can tell?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. If you go by biblical guidelines, if a man and a woman physically related, sexually related, then Bible says they must marry. They must marry. The only exception is when the girl's father is unwilling to give him to that woman, still then he has to pay what they call the bride's money, and she has to remain single all her life. Because sexual relationship is allowed only in marriage, between married people. So if a man has, sexual relationship with a woman, or she had, then marriage, whether is there. Now, the other is prostitution, somebody carrying on sexual relations for money. Well, prostitutes cannot marry, but they are not intentional. But if somebody say, I love you, we had that sort of, then go ahead, marry, I would say. But then if one partner is an unbeliever and all, well, will a believer do that? That sort of questions there. And what right do you have to destroy the future of a girl? And then claim that I'm a believer? So I will say, go ahead, marry. That advice I will give. But then, in some cases that won't work out. In our society does not consider it all, a bad thing. They say that everybody is doing it, but that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right. It's a break time, huh? Yeah. Take a break time.